when we left our jobs at that time, when we were becoming part of Citizen for Accountable Governance, we had this clarity, it's not about us. It's all about country. कमर्शियल इंडस्ट्री को बहुत सारे जो बिजनेसेस करने होते हैं, उसमें आज के समय में बहुत सारी इंडस्ट्रीज बाहर के देशों को देखती हैं कि वहाँ टेक्नोलॉजीज ऐसी हैं, टोल ऐसे हैं, रोड ऐसा है, ट्रांसपोर्ट ऐसा है, मोबिलिटी ऐसी है, ट्रक ऐसा है, हाइड्रोजन ऐसा है, ड्रोन ऐसा है, और वो सब कुछ लाना चाहती हैं। लेकिन कोई एजेंसी नहीं होने की वजह से उनके कंधे पे बोझ बहुत ज़्यादा था। टुडे इफ़ यू हैव एन एस्पिरेशन ऑफ सीइंग अ टेक आउटसाइड इंडिया एनीवेयर इन द ग्लोब, 10 साल पहले ये कॉम्पिटेंस भारत के पास नहीं थी। 2014 से पहले और 2024 के बाद इन 10 सालों में हमने जो प्रोटोटाइप्स किए हैं, जो एग्जीक्यूशंस किए हैं, वो सब अपने आप में नियरली इम्पॉसिबल। इंडिया इज करेंटली इन अ वेरी गुड जियोपॉलिटिकल सिचुएशन टू हैंडल ट्रेड, टू हैंडल शिपिंग, लॉजिस्टिक, फ्रेट, एंड ऑल्सो इफ इट इज कनेक्टेड विथ यूएई। हमारे बीच में इस वक्त जो एक स्ट्रॉन्ग बॉन्ड नजर आ रहा है, दिस इज रेजिंग आईब्रो ऑफ मेनी सुपर पावर्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड।
Typically to converting or upgrading towards highways for EV, what exactly is going to happen?
एक माइंडसेट बन गया था कि इलेक्ट्रिक में अगर इन्वेस्ट किया है, चार्जर लगाया है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर लगाया, गाड़ी लगाई है, तो 8-10 साल तक प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी आप एक्सपेक्ट मत
नहीं कर सकते।
वो माइंडसेट हमने चेंज कर दिया, क्योंकि ऑल एसेट्स दैट वी आर मेकिंग ऑन हाईवेज आफ्टर ईच 50 किलोमीटर आर रीचिंग टू इट्स ब्रेक इवन इन टू 36 to 40 months, and the assets which we have commissioned now are already profitable. Petrol pump you can't own, but it is good for audience to know a charging station, as per the Ministry of Power regulation and relaxation, you can say anybody who has a land base, who has a credit capability, can own a charging station as big as a petrol pump. You don't need a license for that. Germany has a E-Highway model. There is a wire, extended arm in the vehicle. And the other model which is successful globally is the Tesla US model. So these two E-Highway model, something India had to adopt. We made this E-Highway which is lesser in cost than Germany. Germany costs 22 crore rupees per kilometer. Indian E-Highway, the National Highway EV, which I'm project director, it's costing 1 crore rupees per kilometer. If I can bring little bit of Viksit Bharat vision of the national master plan of what India is envisaging towards into next 20-25 years, it will give you goosebumps.
नमस्कार दोस्तों, तो एक बार फिर से आप लोग का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है लॉजिस्टिक्स शक्ति के पॉडकास्ट चैनल में। जैसा हमारा आपको प्रॉमिस है, कमिटमेंट है कि हम आपको हिंदुस्तान के या ग्लोबली ऐसे लीडर्स के साथ में इंट्रोड्यूस कराते रहेंगे, ऐसे प्रोफेशनल्स के साथ में इंट्रोड्यूस कराते रहेंगे कि जिनकी लाइफ से, जिनके एक्सपीरियंसेस से, जिनकी नॉलेज से आपकी नॉलेज, इंडस्ट्री की नॉलेज और ओवरऑल सबकी सप्लाई चेन फंक्शन और लॉजिस्टिक्स इंडस्ट्री की नॉलेज एनहांसमेंट हो, और जो हमारा पाथवे है टूवर्ड्स द ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन, उस पे हम आगे बढ़ते रहें। तो उसी कमिटमेंट में आज के एपिसोड में मैं आपको एक वैसी बहुत ही ज़बरदस्त हस्ती से इंट्रोड्यूस कराना चाह रहा हूँ, जो एक टेक्नोक्रेट हैं और गवर्नमेंट के बहुत सारे मिशंस, हमारे आदरणीय प्राइम मिनिस्टर श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के बहुत सारे एम्बिशियस प्रोजेक्ट को लेके वो काम कर रहे हैं। वो नेशनल प्रोग्राम डायरेक्टर हैं ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस के, और इसी के साथ साथ एडिशनल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी में काम कर रहे हैं एज ए प्रोजेक्ट डायरेक्टर नेशनल हाईवेज फॉर ईवी। और एक बड़ा उनका मैंडेट है जिसमें डिफरेंट लीडर्स के साथ में वो काम कर रहे हैं थ्रू ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस, हाउ वी कैन रिड्यूस द नेशनल कॉस्ट ऑफ लॉजिस्टिक्स। सो कीपिंग दैट इन माइंड, ही इज डायरेक्टली रिलेटेड विद लॉजिस्टिक्स इंडस्ट्री, लॉजिस्टिक्स मिशन, एंड दैट इज द रीजन ही इज आवर टुडेज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट गेस्ट। और आज के डिस्कशन में हम लोग बात करेंगे ऑफ कोर्स लॉजिस्टिक्स के बारे में, और ऑफ कोर्स फ्यूचरिस्टिक थिंग्स के बारे में टेक्नोलॉजी के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से, और डाउन द लाइन 10 years क्या होने वाला है उसके पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से। और सबसे बड़ा डिस्कशन जो हमारा रहने वाला है वो है इंडिया मिडिल ईस्ट के बीच में लॉजिस्टिक्स, और खास करके जो इंडिया मिडिल ईस्ट यूरोप इकोनॉमिक कॉरिडोर प्रपोज हुआ लास्ट G20 समिट में, उसके बारे में डिटेलिंग पता आपको चलने वाला है। क्या इसका हिस्टोरिकल पर्सपेक्टिव है, क्या इसकी बैकग्राउंड है, और इसके थ्रू हमारी लॉजिस्टिक्स इंडस्ट्री या सप्लाई चेन के प्रोफेशनल्स को क्या टेक अवे होने वाला है. सो विदाउट कमिंग मच टाइम इन बिटवीन यू एंड मी, let me introduce Mr. Abhijeet Sinha with you. Thank you very much, sir.
Namaste, Amit ji.
नमस्कार सर, नमस्कार. Thank you very much for your time for a Logistics Shakti podcast. तो जैसा मैंने बोला, थोड़ा सा आप अपने पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से अपना इंट्रोडक्शन दीजिएगा ताकि हमारे ऑडियंस को पता चले कि आप एग्जैक्टली क्या करते हैं और ईज ऑफ डूइंग का क्या बिजनेस मैंडेट है.
जी. सो ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस इस वक्त भारत की प्रीमियर इमर्जिंग टेक पायलटिंग एजेंसीज में से एक है.
प्रीमियर इमर्जिंग
टेक पायलटिंग एजेंसी,
टेक पायलटिंग इंडस्ट्री एजेंसी.
सो ये जनरेशन हुआ नहीं करती थी. 2014 से पहले आप इमर्जिंग टेक के पायलट या तो कंपनीज अपने होम ग्राउंड में करती थी, अपने प्रेमाइसिस के अंदर करती थी, या भारत सरकार के पास एक पायलटिंग एजेंसी थी उस वक्त, दैट इज मैप्ड अंडर प्रिंसिपल साइंटिफिक एडवाइजर टू गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, अग्नि. ये शुरू हुई थी कलाम साहब के साथ.
अच्छा.
और ज़्यादातर पायलट या तो बहुत सुपर हाईटेक स्पेस और टेक के होते थे
डिफेंस साइड में,
या फिर बहुत ग्राउंड लेवल पे, विलेज लेवल पे होते थे. बीच में एक जो गैप था कि कमर्शियल इंडस्ट्री को बहुत सारे जो बिजनेसेस करने होते हैं, उसमें आज के समय में बहुत सारी इंडस्ट्रीज़ बाहर के देशों को देखती हैं कि वहाँ टेक्नोलॉजीज़ ऐसी हैं, टोल ऐसे हैं, रोड ऐसा है, ट्रांसपोर्ट ऐसा है, मोबिलिटी ऐसी है, ट्रक ऐसा है, हाइड्रोजन ऐसा है, ड्रोन ऐसा है, और वो सब कुछ लाना चाहती हैं भारत के अंदर में. लेकिन कोई एजेंसी नहीं होने की वजह से उनके कंधे पे बोझ बहुत ज़्यादा था
कि कैसे उसको इंडिजिनियस करें.
बिल्कुल.
कैसे हमारे प्रोसेस में, हमारे सिस्टम में, हमारी कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी में वो इस्टेब्लिश हो पाएगा.
जी.
गॉट.
सो उसका टेक्निकल कमर्शियल इक्विवेलेंस कैसा होगा, उसके स्टैंडर्ड्स, रूल बुक कैसे होंगे, उसकी फाइनेंसिंग कैसी होगी, उसकी एडॉप्टेबिलिटी, कमर्शियलाइजेशन देश के अंदर कैसा होगा, ये एक बहुत टेरिबल गैप था जो हर सेक्टर में अक्रॉस 30 इमर्जिंग स्मॉल माइक्रो इकोनॉमीज ऑफ इंडिया, ये इस गैप में उनके काफ़ी आप कह सकते हैं फंबल होते थे. कोई काम जो 4 महीने के अंदर हो सकता है वो 4-4 साल तक नहीं हो पाता था, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट की जो ऑफिशियल मशीनरी होती है, एक उसके ऊपर लोड बहुत ज़्यादा होता है पहले से, और उनकी इतनी रिस्क टेकिंग एपेटाइट भी नहीं होती है कि वो हर माइक्रो डिटेलिंग लेवल पे जाके एक एक टेक को पायलट कर सके. सो दिस स्टार्टेड फ्रॉम 2014 व्हेन आई वाज एक्सपेक्टेड टू रोल आउट अ वर्जन ऑफ वाइब्रेंट गुजरात टू वाइब्रेंट इंडिया. सो नाम तो वैसा नहीं रखा गया. एंड द सेकेंड विजन विच हेल्प्ड अस अ लॉट इज प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब का जो विजन था रिफॉर्म, परफॉर्म, ट्रांसफॉर्म का. For
reform, perform and transform.
For each sector of economy and each microeconomy within India, there is a possible technical upgradation. आप भी जानते हैं, मैं भी जानता हूँ. लेकिन वो possible technical upgradation इतना vast होता है. तो आज आप डिजिटल ट्विन से लेकर के एक डिजिटाइजेशन ऑफ लॉजिस्टिक, दोनों की बात करते हैं.
जी.
अडॉप्टेबल इमीडिएट कौन सा है, वेदर डिजिटल ट्विन ऑफ इंटायर एसेट और इंटायर लॉजिस्टिक नेटवर्क अडॉप्टेबल है, या फिर एक लॉजिस्टिक आई कैन से प्रैक्टिकल एग्जांपल में कि एक पोर्ट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, वो वहाँ आप रियलिटी ये है कि पोर्ट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन में हम फंसे हुए हैं, लेकिन डिबेट साइंटिफिकली डिजिटल ट्विन की होती है. सो इन दोनों वर्जन के बीच में दर्जनों टेक हैं, उसमें से कौन सा इंडस्ट्री अभी ले पाएगी, किसका हमारे पास रूल बुक है, किसके स्टैंडर्ड हैं और किसकी फाइनेंसिंग हो पाएगी. दिस इज व्हाट वी डू टुडे.
ब्यूटीफुल. सो लार्जली हाईली डीप इंटीग्रेशन अबाउट द टेक्नोलॉजी.
यस, यू कैन से not only the technology but also their adaptability to the markets, to the financial agencies, to the regulatory bodies.
So when we say adaptability, are we involved into education part?
No. We don't educate people, but we are not consultants. Execution, yes. Execution is part of it. So we do very little pilot, very less, not so wide range of
pilot level, execution.
Pilot, prototype, test, trial and financing, rule book, standardization, all that. So when we start, it is not like we advise government कि आप ऐसे ऐसे करो अच्छा हो जाएगा, and then we step out. No, we execute that pilot. We get it financed. We get all prototype, test run, everything done, and then we hand it over to it. This is how the National Highway works, or some other works.
So give us a little more idea about this, how your personal journey started, how this 10 years various project you executed
This is a brilliant question, which I wish I don't have to answer, is because it's more about me. And I think long back when we left our jobs, at that time when we were becoming part of Citizen for Accountable Governance, we had this clarity. It's not about us. It's all about country. So my journey is subsidized to the other marginalized section. My bigger part, which we managed to deliver, is today, if you have an aspiration of seeing a tech outside India, anywhere in the globe, 10 साल पहले ये competence भारत के पास नहीं थी कि आप उसका immediate pilot कर पाओगे, immediate prototype, test run या test track बना पाओगे. आज वो competence 10 साल में ease of doing business ने develop कर ली है. वो GNSS की tolling हो, वो ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस का सिविल स्कोर बनाना हो आपके लिए, या हाइड्रोजन ट्रक हो, या ड्रोन्स हो, या 3D प्रिंटिंग हो, आप कुछ भी दुनिया भर में कहीं से भी कुछ भी देख के, हमारी लीडरशिप बहुत ट्रैवल करती है, हमारे ब्यूरोक्रेट्स बहुत ट्रैवल करते हैं, एंड दे गेट इम्प्रेस्ड बाय थिंग्स विच दे सी इन द कंट्री. सो 2014 से पहले और 2024 के बाद, इन 10 सालों में हमने जो प्रोटोटाइप्स किए हैं, जो पायलट्स किए हैं, जो एग्जीक्यूशंस किए हैं, वो सब अपने आप में नियरली इम्पॉसिबल थे. मतलब नेक्स्ट टू इम्पॉसिबल नहीं है, देन इट्स नॉट अ पायलट, then it's a routine business. And routine business does not fall into ease of doing business program. They fall into EODB, which is with the DPIIT and Commerce Ministry, because there is a rule book for that. This journey can be, I am happy that I have managed to contribute in that journey. Other than that, leaving my job to join Prime Minister's campaign team in 2014, working for 4 and 5 years, then 6 months again for the election campaign in 2019, again working for 4 and 5 years as ease of doing business program director, then 6 months in 2024 for campaigning for him. That's a part of it. So after each 4 and 5 years, we get 5 months to work with the campaign team of Prime Minister and his vision, which is very different than what people think.
What people think and perceive.
उसको ले जाना लोगों तक कि विजन टेक में कैसा दिखता है. तो टेक की कम्युनिटी को वो विजन ट्रांसलेट होना चाहिए. Otherwise, you will not understand that at what vision he is thinking and where he wants us to take.
Great. So this is all about ease of doing business.
Yes.
And second, you are also, having the additional responsibility of national highways for EVs.
EV.
So give us a little, real layman understanding on this.
Okay. So National Highway EV is a pilot project. The name is technical, making highways ready, upgraded for electric mobility and green mobility. And the mission, the overarching mission, is to reduce logistic cost from our GDP spend from 14% to 9%.
Okay.
One more overarching ambition is attached to it, is to reduce our oil import bill to at least 30%.
Reducing logistic cost minimum 5%?
No, 9%.
Reducing 14 to 9.
14 to 9, yes.
Minimum is over 5%.
Yeah.
And then 30% the import dependency of the crude oil, right?
Yeah.
Largely.
And it is only possible when 17 to 20% of your fuel dispense to the mobility, to intercity transport, to trucks, and to freight, to logistic, can be decarbonized.
Decarbonized or shifted towards the
green, electric, hydrogen, whatever. Okay. So that is the place where National Highway EV comes in. And it clearly a very ambitious project. Now it is adopted by Government of India also. It has proven its technical success through 3 technical trials between Delhi, Jaipur, Delhi, Agra, and then Chennai and Trichy. So first trial, second trial, and third trial. First trial, we commissioned cars and buses, electric buses. Second trial, we commissioned cars, buses, and electric intercity SUVs. Mm-hmm. Third, we did electric trucks. And fourth, I'm looking forward to do hydrogen and many other fuels. All of these adoptions are backed in a PPP mode. So it is not adding additional expenditure for Government of India. And it is also making, changing the game. So अगर आप आम आदमी की बात करें तो इलेक्ट्रिक गाड़ी खरीदने से पहले एक भय होता है कि मेरी गाड़ी अगर हाईवे पे खराब होगी
तो मैं चार्जिंग का मेरा क्या होने वाला है?
कैसे करेंगे? दूसरा, गाड़ी बहुत महंगी है, सो हम कैसे शिफ्ट करें? तीसरा, फ्लीट ऑपरेटर्स जो हैं उनको गाड़ी खराब होगी तो कौन बैकअप देगा?
नो हाउ नहीं है, आइडिया नहीं है.
या एंड लास्ट, विच इज द इंडस्ट्रियल फियर, is electric mobility in last 8 years, or I can say 10 years, counting 2 years before 2014, it's moreover non-profitable. It's like you have to invest today and you have to wait along. So National Highway EV changed all this four. First, if you shut down on an E-Highway, which is National Highway EV, within 30 minutes you get a technical backup from the nearby station, which is into diesel and petrol car, you have to wait for 2.5 hours. Second is you get a vehicle which is 30% lesser than what you are buying from market. So if a fleet operator is operating a fleet on National Highway EV, they only have to pay for car. They don't have to pay for the battery. So automatically 30-40% cost कम हो गई. And third, जो एक माइंडसेट बन गया था कि इलेक्ट्रिक में अगर इन्वेस्ट किया है, चार्जर लगाया है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर लगाया, गाड़ी लगाई है, तो 8-10 साल तक प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी आप एक्सपेक्ट मत
नहीं कर सकते हो.
वो माइंडसेट हमने चेंज कर दिया क्योंकि ऑल एसेट्स दैट वी आर मेकिंग ऑन हाईवेज आफ्टर ईच 50 किलोमीटर आर रीचिंग टू इट्स ब्रेक इवन इनटू 36 to 40 months, and the assets which we have commissioned now are already profitable.
So these assets are, in any case, somebody has to invest on it.
Yeah, it's a PPP model. So once we conduct trial, we get to know कितने स्टेशन बनाने पड़ेंगे.
So if I typically take the example of Delhi to Bombay,
okay,
right? So expressway is there.
Yeah.
So typically to converting or to make upgrading towards highways for EV, what exactly is going to happen and how the logistics going to look like from a commercial standpoint?
Yeah. So जैसे देश में इस वक्त स्टेट हाईवे है, नेशनल हाईवे है, नेशनल एक्सप्रेसवे है, वैसे ही ई हाईवे के भी स्टैंडर्ड्स बन रहे हैं. So all of them, they have different length, breadth, specification, comfort, facilities and all.
And they are on the same highways.
They are
on
the
not
same
being
highway.
created separately.
No, it's the same highway. It's not even a separate lane right now. The future plans are there.
Okay.
So if we got time to, we'll discuss the future plans also. So right now, if you have an highway, which is an e-highway, so there are a specific facilitation which is given to people. That facilitation is one, you will get a huge charging station after each 50 kilometer.
Okay.
And this huge charging station is bigger than a petrol pump. It can cater a bus, it can cater a truck, it can cater a car. It can also possible to dispense lot of e-commerce parcels and deliveries in 50 kilometer by two-wheeler and three-wheeler, which are on the station, not on the highway. So this station is an anchor point. It's like a co-working space for all fleet operators, freight operators, logistic operators who are willing to decarbonize their diesel fleet.
Got it.
So right now they have 200 cars and everybody can't enter into land acquisition and power and, keeping a highway station up. The work which has happened into electric mobility in last 10 years is having one single charger is the second generation charger. So first generation of petrol pump is called first generation. Second generation, a petrol pump with CNG, LNG and a charger. We have 3G station, third generation stations, which does not have petrol diesel. It has electric, it has hydrogen, it has other
absolute
future
green
fuels. Absolute
green
clean mobility. It starts with a thermal grid because we have to right now, but it has a very strong plan to move to green. And how the station work is their core competence is to create a workspace, is a co-working space model for all charge point operators, for all fleet operators, that they plan a fleet on that particular origin and destination city. They just have to come to us and they have to tell, we want to run this truck. It requires this certain charger. We want to set up the charger. The power is done by us. Electric is done by us. The land is done by us. All facilities, amenities, world-class amenities, which is like a airport, is done by us. There is a food court. There is a conference hall. There is a bank. There is an ATM. These all are already there.
And it is being operated by a PPP model.
So once
by some of the identity.
Once a station is finalized, it is open for allocation to public, private, and people.
Got it.
This is good that petrol pump you can't own. But it is good for audience to know a charging station as per the Ministry of Power regulation and relaxation, you can say, anybody who has a land base, who has a credit capability can own a charging station as big as a petrol pump. You don't need a license for that.
Great. So it's become just like, different business opportunities for different companies.
Yes.
Different people.
And it also reduces the load of making a petrol pump-like network on the shoulder of government.
Yeah.
They will not be able to do.
How this entire vision or is going to be actualized on ground?
So as of now, we have 5,500 kilometer network, the entire Bharatmala and Sagarmala, to be converted into electric highway, E-Highway. And this is 5,500 kilometer, including Delhi, Jaipur, Delhi, Agra. And this brings us close to a corridor, you can say, which we will plan in the second phase, which will be green powered. And it also gives a very tough competition to global successful use cases. Like Germany has a E-Highway model, which is pantograph wire and a corridor. The corridor which people usually know, this is E-Highway. There is a certain corridor, there is a wire, extended arm in the vehicle. And the other model, which is successful globally, is the Tesla US model. So these two E-Highway model, something India had to adopt. कुछ तो हमारा E-Highway होता. We did not copy Germany. We did not copy Tesla also. We made this E-Highway, which is way lesser in cost than Germany. Germany cost 22 crore rupees per kilometer. Indian E-Highway, the National Highway EV, the which I'm project director, it's costing 1 crore rupees per kilometer. It includes the cost of vehicle, the cars and buses on that particular OD pair. And the US model, Tesla, is a very niche model. Everybody can't buy Tesla, and everybody can't have a 80 lakh plus segment cars. So that is not so inclusive. Our highways can have any number of vehicle, any number of any type of vehicle. Every station is equipped with 40-45 charger, and it can be expanded to 60-65 chargers.
Great. So it is, in fact, it is a very, very interesting and very complex and comprehensive. Certainly more and more discussion required.
Right.
And since you are already focused on a futuristic thing and directly connected with the logistics futuristic thing, so we would like to touch upon, rather, dwell upon on the global perspective of a global supply chain standpoint. India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor. How this is another futuristic project and flagship program of our Honorable Prime Minister. So how this is going to be a change maker, and let's talk about little historical perspective about it and then move forward.
Yeah, so India Middle East European corridor एक ऐसा विजन है प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब का, जिसको अलग अलग एंगल से, अलग अलग दृष्टिकोण से देखा जा सकता है. और इंडस्ट्री का दृष्टिकोण भी हम आज बात कर पाएंगे
जी.
लेकिन शुरुआत वहाँ से करते हैं जहाँ सबसे कंट्रोवर्शियल हिस्सा होता है कि जब हम बात करते हैं किसी ऐसे काल की जिस वक्त भारत सबसे अपने स्वर्णिम युग में था, उस काल से हम आज वापस क्या पा सकते हैं, इस पे आज की जनरेशन बहुत कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव डिबेट नहीं कर पाती. बिकॉज उनको लगता है उस समय में चीज़ें वैसी थी और आज के जो existential crisis है वो अलग.
There is no connect.
There is no connect.
They feel that way.
They feel that way. And हमारी competence आज के हिसाब से होनी चाहिए. पीछे के हिसाब से competence शायद अगर हम डेवलप कर भी लें तो वो हमें आज के उत्तर, आज के जवाब नहीं दे पाएगी. और ये वो हिस्सा है जहाँ ये दोनों thought process, current existential crisis, competence, geopolitical situation, trade and commerce, logistic, ये सारा कुछ, और दूसरी तरफ इंडिया going back to the glory that it had. ये दोनों हिस्से यहाँ लिंक होते हैं. So
taking inspirations from there, and making with the ground realities and implementing from that perspective in today's realities.
Right. So करीब 4000 साल पहले की आप हिस्ट्री उठाकर देखें, जिस वक्त इंडिया के साथ कुछ देशों के ट्रेड थे, और डेफिनेटली उन देशों के साथ इंडिया के ट्रेड 2nd सेंचुरी BC तक चले. ये 4000 साल पहले की हिस्ट्री में आपको यूरोप का और इंडिया का जो ट्रेड था, इसके बीच मिडिल ईस्ट आता था. और अरब के जो ट्रेडर्स थे उन्होंने लंबे समय तक, आज इसको आप डिबेट कर सकते हैं वेदर दे प्रोटेक्टेड अस और दे एक्सप्लॉटेड अस, लंबे समय तक उन्होंने इंडिया का जो मार्केट था, और इंडिया से ज़्यादा ट्रेड मसाले की होती थी उस वक्त, और फ्लेवर्ड आइटम्स की, सिल्क वगैरह सब बाद में शुरू हुए थे. तो इन मसालों का जो मेन मार्केट था यूरोप में, उसको सप्लाई यूरोपियन ट्रेडर्स किया करते थे, यूरोपियन मर्चेंट्स किया करते थे, और वो इंडिया से ख़रीदा करते थे. तो करीब जब तक यूरोप का मिस्र के ऊपर, इजिप्ट के ऊपर जब तक आधिपत्य नहीं हो गया, जब तक उनके पोर्ट्स, उनके सी रूट्स, उनका लैंड एंट्री नहीं मिला इजिप्ट के ऊपर, तब तक ये ट्रेड चलता रहा. और मसाले आते कहाँ से हैं यूरोप में, ये बहुत इसी वक्त शायद
ये
वो
मसालों की मिस्ट्री थी
कि हाँ वो सपेरों का देश है, वो सांप का देश है, जहाँ से मसाले आते हैं कोई जा नहीं सकता, कोई पहुंच नहीं सकता, जबकि भारत उस वक्त एक समृद्ध राष्ट्र था।
राइट।
लेकिन जो अरब ट्रेडर्स थे उन लोगों ने काफी समय तक उसे अपने मार्केट को बचा के रखा,
फेंसिंग कर,
और ये करीब 12-1500 साल तक चला है। और ये जो पूरा स्पाइस रूट था जापान से होते हुए और इंडिया मिडिल ईस्ट कॉरिडोर से होते हुए, इस पूरे कॉरिडोर के बीच में जो बहुत मोनोपोली पोजीशन पे मिडिल ईस्ट था उस समय, ये ख़त्म होता है जब यूरोप का कब्जा होता है इटली के ऊपर, और धीरे धीरे जब वो लैंड के रास्ते घुसते हैं, अरब पहुंचते हैं, मिडिल ईस्ट का जो लैंड लॉक है,
डिफरेंट अंपायर क्रिएट हुए, आई थिंक ऑटोनोमस अंपायर, दे हैव थॉट ऑफ कि भाई क्यों चलने दें हम इसको।
नो, उन्होंने रोका नहीं, इट गॉट बस्टेड कि मसाले यहाँ से नहीं आते,
okay,
it comes from somewhere else.
So people got realized it is not yours, it is somewhere else.
So where is that somewhere else? And then they started taking around the Middle East through the sea to find India.
Okay.
So Christopher Columbus ने कोशिश की,
मार्को पोलो,
no, मार्को पोलो नहीं, Christopher Columbus 1492 के आसपास, and there are two more people who have tried to,
एबन बतूता और मार्को पोलो का भी नाम आता है ना इसमें।
yes, but जो बहुत recognized हैं, जिनके बारे में बात की जाती है कि उनके जो स्ट्रेंथ थे वो ज़्यादा थे, वो क्रिस्टोफर कोलंबस एंड जॉन कॉबर्ट एंड देन फाइनली वास्को डी गामा।
ओके।
सो क्रिस्टोफर कोलंबस नहीं पहुंच पाते हैं, अमेरिका पहुंच जाते हैं, जॉन कॉबर्ट भी कहीं नहीं पहुंच पाते हैं, वो वापस पहुंच जाते हैं, एंड वास्को डी गामा, यहाँ थोड़ा हिस्ट्री का ग्लिच है जिसको प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब ने बहुत देर से करेक्ट किया, और आई थिंक ऑडियंस के लिए ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है कि वास्को डी गामा भी भारत नहीं पहुंचा था। ही लैंडेड एट मुंबासा, केन्या, एंड देयर ही मेट अ गुजराती ट्रेडर।
अच्छा।
जिससे उसने मसालों के बारे में पूछा, एंड ही वाज वेरी ओपन, ही सेड हम लेके चल सकते हैं, आपको 20-22 दिनों की सेलिंग है, हम चल सकते हैं साथ में, एंड देन ही बॉट वास्को डी गामा टू कालीकट। सो दिस इज नोवेयर, एंड नेम of that trader who took Vasco da Gama from there was later revealed by Prime Minister when he visited Portuguese in 2018, and it is still fed to our next generation कि Vasco da Gama उस समय भारत आ गया जिस वक्त हम सांप और सपेरों का देश कहे जाते थे, और they were so rich and prosperous that they were doing intercontinental voyages, और हमें ढूंढा जा रहा था। सो ये इसका सबसे बड़ा मिथ ब्रेकर जो है वो ये है कि आपके पास 2nd and 3rd सेंचुरी में रोमन कॉइन्स मिलते हैं साउथ इंडिया में, मतलब हमारा रोम तक व्यापार सीधा था, और साउथ में मिलते हैं, दे आर द हिस्टोरिकल फैक्ट ऑफ कार्बन डेटिंग, बट इन हिस्ट्री बुक्स यू ओनली नो दैट इंडिया गॉट डिस्कवर्ड बाय द यूरोप इन आफ्टर वास्को डी गामा अराइवल।
गॉट इट।
सो इसको आप थोड़ा जो आपका पर्सपेक्टिव है उससे आप कनेक्ट करके देखिए कि ये जो ट्रेड रूट था, ये ट्रेड रूट डिस्ट्रॉय हुआ, उसके बाद सिल्क रूट बना। ये ट्रेड रूट इंडिया के लिए प्रॉफिटेबल था, ये यूरोपियन मिडिल ईस्ट कॉरिडोर जो अभी बन रहा है ये उसी के साथ जाता है, और यूएई के लिए, मिडिल ईस्ट के लिए,
ऑयल इकोनॉमी से पहले तो यही इकोनॉमी रही होगी उनके लिए भी
लंबे समय तक ये इकोनॉमी थी, और ये रूट अगर और आगे फ्लरिश करता, सो टुडे वर्ल्ड ऑर्डर वुड हैव बीन डिफरेंट।
यस,
एंड नाउ व्हेन प्राइम मिनिस्टर इज फोकसिंग ऑन दैट, bringing that thought that we were sometime more efficient in terms of, we were also falling on the center, but we were not the center of the trade because we were producing spices. So इस वक्त अगर इंडिया इस रूट के सेंटर में आता है, so India is currently in a very good geopolitical situation to handle trade, to handle shipping, logistic, freight, and also if it is connected with UAE, आप UAE और इंडिया के बीच में पैसेंजर फ्रीक्वेंसी एंड वॉल्यूम देखें, हमारे बीच में ट्रेड देखें, या हमारे बीच में इस वक्त जो एक स्ट्रॉन्ग बॉन्ड नज़र आ रहा है, दिस इज़ रेजिंग आईब्रो ऑफ मेनी डीप स्टेट्स एंड मेनी कंट्रीज एंड मेनी सुपर पावर्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड हु डिड नॉट वांटेड दिस रूट टू फ्लरिश.
Correct.
And this has flourished very well.
So, looking at the past history and past glory and the fencing of certain countries from that perspective, that point in time, and then discovery of India, and the debate can be there on the history and the right history and the maybe distorted history, right? But that is for sure. In today's context, the way our government has maintained the relationship and taken the initiative, and also parallelly, Middle East countries are also looking for their parallel economy to develop, and the relationship are flourishing. So we believe and we have a strong conviction this initiative certainly will take the day of light. It will be a reality over a period of time. And the way opportunities are getting opened for the logistics industry, how UAE is going to be a complete transshipment hub from a logistics standpoint. So let's talk about on this, how this is going to be look like in future terms, and how industry of logistics and supply chain function is getting the advantage.
So see, right now, logistic is playing a very important role in export-import and also into cross-border markets.
Yeah.
If the product which you are manufacturing in your country, by the time it reaches to shipyard or by the time it reaches to destination port, if it is increasing to a certain extent, India's GDP spend currently is 14%. You automatically become unviable for many countries.
Correct.
Who are buying from China.
Correct. In fact, despite our labor cost is lowest, right, across the globe.
Right.
And there are many other costs on producing is lowest, but cost of production is low, but cost on production is high.
True.
So cost on the logistics
is high.
Yeah, cost on goods is high.
So that's one priority. Second is the trade route is playing a very important role right now. The complexities are there, oppositions are there with different ideas and different motives. But when you're developing a trade route, there are some inherent benefits which comes to economy. How do we translate that benefit to us? Because economic corridor, when you speak, a lot of people in audience do not know that a lot of stuff which is passing from that economic corridor is not counted as an import into that particular country from where it is passing. It does not contribute to economy until and unless you find a way to count it.
Correct.
To find a way to use it.
Otherwise, it's just transit.
It's
moment.
just a transit moment.
Yeah.
It does not even volume of your import or neither a volume of your export. So in this context, if you will look globally, then two factors will rule the world. One, the lowest logistic cost. Second is how do you decarbonize mobility? Not only national, international, global.
Correct.
Because this will further lower the cost. And if you look at the disappointment which Conference of Parties, COP 26, 27, 28 and 29 has given to the world, after a lot of conversation under United Nations flagship, that we will be able to produce a decarbonization plan for the planet. Ultimately, it's a 300 billion offer which India rejected and many of the countries rejected. So at this stage of time, world is looking at India that you provide us. एक समय था कि 2014-13 से पहले हम एक फर्जाइल 5 इकोनॉमी कहे जाते थे. दुनिया कह रही थी कि तुमसे ना हो पाएगा.
आपसे ना हो पाएगा.
और इस वक्त वर्ल्ड इज सिटिंग ऑन योर बैक.
आप ही को करना है.
आप ही से होगा. आप ही कर सकते हैं. सो दैट्स द पोजीशन व्हिच इंडिया हैज स्कोर्ड ओवर 10 years. This is time to take that leap that we can do. And not only India Middle East corridor, there are Bodo, Bangladesh, Bhutan, B3 corridor. The other corridor is...
In fact, the India-Middle East economic corridor, it is not just for the, the transshipment from the west side.
Right.
It is actually going to Act East policy as well.
Right.
Where, you can provide the alternate for the Bangladesh and Myanmar and Vietnam, Cambodia,
right,
to route, their shipment and their transportation to Europe and Middle East via India.
True. So if we look at these two, the cost and the decarbonization, now the world is looking at India that you also give me the decarbonization solution. And when you look at decarbonization solution, then before you place it on the global map or before you place it in the international market, you have to do a prototype, you have to prove it within the country. And if you look at India's demography, India's load on the highways, India's frequency of trucks and logistic, then something proven in India, in Indian context, is bound to work very well in outside. But something which has proven into Europe, it is so sophisticated that it does not hit the reality.
Our complexities is very difficult. It has to be Indian way.
Right.
And Indian way can be successful outside India.
Right.
Right.
So globally, 2-3 people have done wonderful work. Israel has done a wonderful work in developing corridors which can be powered by the floor, on the floor with a strip of the power. Germany has done the overhead wire, which has not been much successful. Now they have started dismantling the cabling and the lorries are going back. Third is America, who has done the coast, but they have done mostly for the passenger vehicle, Tesla and all other. So if today there is a freight corridor possible, so if you look at India Middle East corridor, so in corridor there are 4 things: road, railway, hydrogen pipeline, and optical fiber.
Yeah.
So as
digital has to go together.
Yeah, digital is going together.
Yeah.
So as of now, if you look at India's Middle East corridor design, then majority of these integrations has came from India, because it was announced in India at G20. It was consulted by India, and it was also negotiated by India from the origin. So why we did not set hydrogen electric corridor or electric highway is because India is right now prototyping it within the country. The moment we become successful and a credible, technical, commercial, data-driven, proven example of an economic corridor, which is a E-highway within India, then we will be able to give that entire solution of converting a highway between 2 cities to India Middle East corridor. And when it is integrated, India will have technology, product, solution, people, everything coming from India and getting implemented. So you can imagine any country downline from 6 to 7 years from now can ask India to provide me a origin to destination corridor, which is green corridor, which is E-highway.
Okay, so that's a consulting we are going to provide, or it is a solution?
In technology, product, solution, vehicle, charger, battery.
End-to-end solution we can provide.
Only power is what we are going to buy from that.
Beautiful.
That is what Parliament has mandated this year. That all infrastructure projects, including projects like National Highway, which are PPP in nature, which can be concluded by 2027, and which has a possibility to give a role model for the world after the disappointment from COP, that anybody can copy paste. So you have manpower, you have white collar job people,
yes,
blue collar job people, you have engineers. So right now also, if you will see economy of Dubai, economy of Middle East, majority of work in RTA are done by Indian people.
Yeah,
they run it very well, and they not only work in that side, but they also work into healthcare. So manpower is what we are producing right now. Tech is also has improved over a period of last 10 years. So what is not happening is the ecosystem. A large ecosystem is not being prototyped in India and being given to the world. This is very well done.
We were providing those services on a independently, on a fragmented basis.
Right.
Now it is going to be integrated and supported by the government.
So Services Export Promotion Council for bringing a lot of human capital. On that global level, what we have provided to Israel recently, when Israel was rebuilding the Gaza, then you have medical staffing to various part of the world, and then you can go on giving trucks, electric mobility, wires, batteries, technologies of BMS. So this all today comes from China.
Got it.
And couple of the ecosystem comes from the very niche European countries who say, I can give you E-highway, like Germany has spoken to. I was part of a lot of conversation when the German team came to India to pitch that Indian highway can also be like German highway. It did not work because the cost. But if India goes, and I told you the cost between 22 crore rupees German and Indian 1 crore.
1 crore.
If we stand in the bidding, competitive bidding, whatever you want to do, the adaptability of a solution coming from India is very high globally than China. And very cheaper if it is not coming from Europe.
And tired and trusted in our entire complexities.
So Prime Minister vision of reform, perform and transform is 2014 to 2019 is reform. We created basic ground for becoming and having an agency like us, creating ambitious pilot like us between 2014 to 2019. 19 to 24 is the perform. We have done the land acquisition and many things we managed to do between 19 to 24. This last 3.0 and this current term of this new government, Modi economics, is the transformation. And this transformation is unprecedented. Things which you cannot expect, things which you did not even expected into last 75 years.
I mean, we may not believe that India can do it.
Yeah.
Those things are going to be.
That's why it's called Amrit Kal.
Yeah.
That's why it's Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Fantastic. In fact, we shall be bringing in a separate podcast.
Right.
So apart from the India, Middle East, Europe in corridor, it's a road, it's a corridor. So entire economic activities are going to happen around this. It is just not a route alone.
Right.
And there is, as you mentioned, the digital fiber,
Optical fiber.
Cabling is being done for a better connectivity digitally. And before this, I had get a chance from one of the technocrat to interact who has mentioned about it, Maitri portal. Yeah, right. The Maitri portal has been, envisaged and developed, where the multiple different portals are there for different ports. Different companies has made it, and this Maitri portal is integrating those portals. Right. So we shall be having a separate, so as you rightly mentioned, the entire ecosystem of manpower, technology, consulting, and execution are happening together. And so now the last piece of the question is remaining: how it is going to be beneficial for the industry of the logistics and the function of a supply chain?
So let me answer this question in a reverse mode. What is that we are planning to deliver? How does the delivery look like? So today you have to ship something from a village into Ladakh or a village into UP. You have to ship it to the Paris or to the France.
Got it.
You can send it through multiple channels. You can send it by air, train, road, and you can then choose routes also. How you're going to.
So basically, for the audience, we are talking about how India's village can be connected globally.
Right.
Right. So that's a direct advantage for the logistics industry, and before that, the manufacturer or the small time SMEs or micro entrepreneurs. Yeah.
So right now the design or the architecture looks like you have a country-specific portal. In India, it's ULIP, which comes under PM Gati Shakti, National Master Plan. It is only focused on making all ports accessible for export and also connected with the economy zone, industry zone, and other industrial zones. Plus, now it is going drilled down to ODOP, one district, one product.
Correct.
And it is connecting entire economy, our microeconomies, MSME economies, and also small scale to a certain extent, which is in a startup economy, to an export. And it cannot be possible without two things. One, digital infrastructure to sell, list, and get a client from globe. Second is a physical infrastructure that we reach to port in minimum expenditure. And then third part, which comes with India Middle East corridor or Bhutan, Borderland and Bangladesh corridor, B3, and then competition to China's track and BRT, China's
BRI, Belt and Road Initiative, and before that, Belt and the Road BRO or whatever, BOR.
We also have competition in that segment in the east side. Is called Mahinder Hiligad and Mahinder Highway.
Okay.
That corridor, which is currently under dispute because it's a huge dependency on Bangladesh. So what does it look like to people outside India and inside India is what I'm trying to outline. So you will have very difficult time to find quotations of all this, that by air, road, ship, water, how you are going to send it, or train. Also, which is beneficial for you, for your business, and how they competing with each other. What is the time involved into it? What kind of compliances involved into it? Export, import. So ultimately, it's zero down to a very complex situation where you have to appoint an export consultant. This is the place where we want to sideline export consulting.
And what make it here again, the role of the ease of doing business comes.
Yeah, it's a very basic ease of doing business. If you provide a portal which is architected in such a manner that all 4-5 countries which is falling into these corridors connected with India, east side and to the Middle East side, is building their own economic softwares, economic platforms, linked with MAT3 and also linked in India with the ULIP. And then if you place one of your material which you want to send to Venice, you can get quote in real time in some hours turnaround time from air, from water, from rail, from road, and all different routes, along with the compliances which you want to evade, because custom duty, centralized or tax, whatever you have to pay, all can be calculated on the portal itself, and it's a single window clearance. You have to pay once, then your container is to be tracked digitally.
Beautiful.
You don't have to worry. You are not going to get a call कि इस shipyard में मेरा ये सामान फंसा हुआ है.
Running pillar to post.
No, absolutely not. That's one part of it. Second is, what is the solution that India is going to provide? If I can bring little bit of Viksit Bharat vision of the national master plan of what India is envisaging towards into next 20-25 years, it will give you goosebump. Because India's corridor building capability, green corridor building capability, is going to beat majority of the successful examples that we have today globally. Second, the cost is going to be very down and the efficiency is going to be very high. One corridor which India is now planning into the Viksit Bharat plan, the beta version is National Highway EV. That one corridor is going to be 100% green. And when we say 100% green, it means we have strap on the floor, which is charging the vehicle on the run. So the battery size in a freight truck, which is very huge, is reduced to very small. So our dependency on China is gone for the lithium-ion battery. This battery size can keep the truck outside track also for 40-50 kilometers, and then it can come back on the track and it can charge itself.
Amazing.
How these tracks are charged are by a station after each 50 kilometers. This is what NHEV is making right now. And these stations has a capability of 5,000 kilowatt hour, 5 megawatt hour to be dispensed on this track through solar, wind, hydrogen, and electrolyzer. Beautiful. So what you are producing from solar can be surplus sent on the electrolyzer. Electrolyzer helps you in a micro electrolyzer to generate hydrogen, keeps it stored on the station for two purposes. One, you can dispense to a hydrogen truck, and second, you can use that hydrogen for using the station. What you are doing on the road, you are creating a lot of mechanical energy by passing a truck, big truck. Every divider in front of this station is going to have wind turbine. And 30% of the mechanical energy, which you converted from hydrogen, is going to come back to the station. So what I am talking here is this highway would not be connected with the thermal grid. There is no expense technically to run that particular highway. It's completely vehicle and a station both are running on solar. Today, if I say 1 crore rupees per kilometer, tomorrow it might be little up because this hydrogen and electric wind, but the running cost of this highway would be zero.
Absolutely.
Only vehicle you have to introduce and you have to do the wear and tear. This model, if it is prototyped in India, India would be the exclusive country for giving solution to the decarbonization of freight, logistic, and whatever technology is required. And it will be able to provide it globally to any country. If some competition we will be able to see, you will be able to see some from Israel, and which is a friend country. We are both developing this together. Couple of more countries are involved into prototyping, but this mission of bringing highway and the logistic platform is going to change the world over in a different manner.
Great. So this is very exciting. In fact, this looks like, as you mentioned, it is going to give goosebumps.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the audience would like to have a separate podcast on this. We shall be having time to find out more realities and more complexities and how the solutions is going to look like. Now, since we have already spent much time, let's move forward on the Logistics Shakti and the another supply chain management conclave and the award we are having on Middle East in Dubai on 23 and 24th of April. So we would like to give, extend the invitation, of course, to you and our rest of the fraternity of the logistics. And also would like to have a feedback from you, the technocrat like you, how this initiative can be further better and how this initiative can be useful for the entire fraternity.
I think in this window of time, historical window of time, India is in the same place where Japan was in 1975. And the dream which we are aspiring is to reduce our logistic cost from 14% to 9%, Today's Japan logistic spend is 5%. They are living the dream which we are aspiring today.
Correct.
From 1975 to 1995, that's a 25-year window. I'm not calling it a Amrit Kal because they might have different name. In this window, from 512 billion US dollar, Japan economy shoot up to 5.1 trillion, a 25-time upgrade. Exponential upgrade, which is what India is now talking. World Bank says, ENY, KPMG, all of them, they have 35 to 38 trillion dollar expectation that it will grow by 2047. The space between two major calculation out of all 4-5 calculation is whether it will be 30 to 35 trillion dollar or it will be 52 trillion dollar. There are only two major calculation. 35 trillion dollar is based on the calculation of the purchasing power, PPP economy. The $52 trillion is based on the economy doubling theory. Logistic and organizations like Logistics Shakti has that potential to drive industries, technologies, product, solution provider, and companies who are bringing more technology to this transition in a position to change the economics from 35 to 52 trillion.
Great.
Because something is going to happen, either $35 trillion or either $52 trillion. Why I said Logistics Shakti has that responsibility and capability is because we are in a position, the time window, where if you see today India Middle East corridor, then the basic characteristics of India Middle East corridor is decided, defined and negotiated by India during G20 in September 2023. In 2024 February, Prime Minister goes to UAE and he signs an intergovernmental framework, IGF, this coordination framework. And over a period of next 12 months only, in February 2025, I was there in Logistics Shakti program. I also got opportunity to see the progress. 60-72% work between Dubai to the Saudi Arabia border on the rail and the roadside is done. Saudi Arabia 500 kilometer stretch is also done. And now the stretch between Saudi Arabia towards Israel and Jordan, Kuwait is under progress. And it's under very extreme, fast speed progress. So this time window, when we are in a position as a country to define what technology we are going to place there in the India Middle East corridor, what type of solution we can integrate to it, what type of new avenues we can see, because whether it is only going to be Dubai port is benefited or Abu Dhabi port can also be brought into some sort of triangular equation. These all are the possibilities open right now for companies who bring technology, product and solution. And to prototype them, our work as ease of doing business is to bring all stakeholder consultation together and work with organizations like Gati Shakti, Logistics Shakti to do continuous program from Dubai to then Saudi Arabia, then Oman, Qatar, going forward to Jordan, Kuwait, and then Greece, and then Israel. These all 5-6 locations, we should organize programs to bring stakeholders together, bring them open to the opportunity that India is offering right now, and these countries are very well pursuing it in terms of progress and in terms of actual displacement on the ground. It is nowhere before, never ever before, and it is not going to be again possible, because once you had an operational corridor, the integration become bit difficult. But right now,
in the build-up stage,
now you can
so opportunities and first mover advantage, people can take it.
So that is the message which I want to give to the audience of Logistics Shakti, that if you have a solution, whether it's a digital infrastructure, physical infrastructure, it's a technical upgradation, it might be a scientific, ambitious upgradation, or it also might be a emerging tech. This is the time to join hands together, work together with Logistics Shakti to look at the avenues that where it can be commercially prototyped, where it can be economically prototyped, and it is a place where you do not have to shy. And I would like to give an example here. Right now, we are having a lot of conversation that India and Dubai will also have a tube railway within the seabed. It is not today's conversation. It has been into conversation and presentation and technical evaluation for more than 3 years. Once upon a time, 3 years back, when we looked at the cost involved into it, and today when we look at the cost, given the volume and the frequency between people who are traveling between India and Dubai, it looks viable.
So in fact, I was just going through the news that, there is a project proposed between Mumbai and Dubai. The travel time through a train can be possible and being proposed and being contemplated within 2 hours. This is what you were talking about. Basically.
Absolutely. Yeah. So 3 years back, the cost might have looked very, very ambitious, very practically, overarching. But today, when we look at the volume, and that's the place where I want to take your thinking, that if you look at the volume and time, energy that we are going to work on the corridor, your cost and ambition becomes secondary. So that's the time and that's the window which we all must utilize. And I'm sure that the kind of audience you have, the kind of partnership you manage to bring, and the kind of scale that Logistics Shakti has brought to bring partners together in the Dubai program is a benchmark for the other programs to come up in these, on these cities. And they are right people to create correct content for the intent that Prime Minister had.
Absolutely. So thank you very much, Abhijeet ji. You have made our message very clear and very highly amplified. And thank you very much for taking the time for Logistics Shakti podcast. And this podcast certainly is going to be very, very powerful in terms of the knowledge. And we look forward more such interaction with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And best wishes for the program. And I also look forward to add more value to it, as and when I'm also involved in personally to conduct more programs on this corridor. And my office is also open to any of the prototyping or scaling that anyone wish to reach to me.
Thank you. Thank you very much.